Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel for learning foreign languages. Please subscribe and follow me so you can learn foreign languages. Foreign languages are important nowadays because of globalization, and if you have a foreign language, it's an added advantage for seeking when you're seeking for globalization. And if you have a foreign language, it's an added advantage for seeking when you're seeking for a job. And also when you travel, and also it's interesting when you meet people from different cultures. So keep following me and learn foreign languages in my YouTube channel. So like I said, I'm continuing, and actually I'm following my lessons, the one I do with my students, the ones I have in France. And this is the beginner's course. And I continue with I come back to the part which I said I'll follow after I'll follow after I went through the personal pronouns, because you have seen the personal pronouns, and it is important because now you're going to use them when conjugation starts. So first and foremost, let me explain the word conjugation, because it is important. Some people probably do not know this word, but in France, conjugation is very, very important. In French, I mean, when you are learning French, conjugation is a must. So conjugation, actually, it's a word from Latin, which means join together. So it is pronounced conjugation, conjugation. So that's the pronunciation. And it refers to the changing of verbs for persons. Persons, when I mean person, is like personal pronouns. Personal pronouns, we know it is I, you, we, so forth. Or even in numbers, so when they are plural, when it is we, it's plural. And the tense, even in the tense means when it is maybe past tense, present tense, and also the mood. So also it's called, actually it's called a verbal paradigm. When you know, a paradigm is when you have different things in the same place, but actually act in the same place, because you will see that the verb, when before you actually conjugate it, that is before you change the verb to the person. Like for example, you change when you take je, you will take je, and then the verb will be in another form. When you will take tu, the verb will be in another form. So it will depend with the verbs. Some verbs are irregular, whereby the forms probably remain the same, but some are irregular, so the forms will change. The forms will change when you use a different person. So be careful. I'm saying persons. That's personal pronouns: je, tu, vous, and nous, and so on. So those are persons or personal pronouns. So even the names, for example, because a person with a name, it can be me, for example. And since you know my name is Jeremy, so if you can say Jeremy Jeremy va à la maison, so it's the third person. So here, actually, we are going to start seeing verbs that we used in our previous lessons. The ones in the previous lessons whereby Mark was introducing himself. So the ones who are using my book, they know who is Mark. And when Mark is introducing himself, he actually starts with the verb s'appeler. So the verb s'appeler is the verb to be called, or to be called, or I call myself. Because there's something you will have noticed with that verb. There's an S apostrophe, and then you have appeler. So actually this is called a pronominal verb. Why do you call it a pronominal verb? Because there's a pronoun before the verb. That S apostrophe, the S apostrophe, actually the apostrophe means that there's an E has been removed. So S is a pronoun. A pronoun. But remember personal pronouns, so just for the moment, just know that there are many pronouns. So you just be careful to differentiate the pronouns. So the pronoun it's related to part or a personal pronoun. So when the verb you start it, it's a pronoun. Each time you use it, you'll have to put a pronoun. So it's like, for example, when you start with je, you'll have to say je m'appelle. So that M apostrophe, then there's the verb appelle. It means an E has been removed. So je m'appelle, je me, it refers to me. It is like I, me, call. Yeah? You see, so you'll have to get used to this way of talking in French, because these verbs, you will see them, there are so many of them in French, and they have a particular way of how they are conjugated. So you see here the conjugation, we take je m'appelle. When it has not been conjugated, you see it is the verb s'appeler. It ends with an ER. So normally verbs that end with ER, they actually call regular verbs. There's only one irregular verb that ends with ER, and you will see it because those are one of the most used verbs in French. It is the verb aller, is the verb to go, and it is used to say how are you. That's why you have to see it, because these are the things you use when you are actually introducing yourself. Those are the first verbs you'll use. That's why I see the importance to bring them here. Those are the verbs we used when Mark was introducing himself, and then when he introduced his friend. So we have to see these verbs. So the verb itself is the verb s'appeler. So like I said, the verb before it is conjugated, there's no persons. It has not been conjugated. When you see a verb is not been conjugated, it ends with ER. It has not been conjugated. It is in original form. We say it's got a name, and I told you what is the name. So you have je m'appelle, that is I am called. Second is tu t'appelles. You'll see there's the T apostrophe, means also there's an E has been removed. Tu t'appelles, you are called. And then il, and then there's the strong il or elle s'appelle. So there's the SS apostrophe, actually SE actually refers to il, elle, that is he or she. It's like you're saying he, him calls, himself, or he himself calls. Actually, that pronominal always refers to the person. For example, je, for me refers to I myself call, you see. Then tu t'appelles, the te actually refers to you. It is like you yourself calls. Then you will see, you will come to nous. So you have to put nous twice, because the second nous is a pronoun. It refers to ourselves. So it is nous appelons. You have to join S with the A of the verb. So you pronounce it, and it is pronounced like a Z. You have to say nous appelons. We are called. So you see, you have to put it twice. So nous, the first nous is the personal pronoun. The second one is a pronoun. But it refers to the person. You see, it's like you say, we ourselves call, you see. And then at the last but not least, you have vous appelez. You have, like I said, you have to join the S, and the sound like a Z becomes. That's why you say, comment vous appelez-vous? Comment vous appelez-vous? You say, comment vous appelez-vous? That's how you will, when you're asking somebody, how are you called? You say, comment vous appelez-vous? You see, like French, like when you're learning French, you just have to realize that you're in a new dimension. You are entering another dimension. Forget about English. Okay, but of course I'm using English to teach you, but what I mean is that you start tuning your brain in such a way that you will realize that you're entering into another dimension. Then, okay, I said last but not least, that was not last. There was the last but not least again, is you'll have il, elle. So this is they are called. You will realize the plural, because these are their plural. These are they are called. They, which is one is masculine, that is il, and then elle is feminine. Then you'll see s'appelle. You'll see S apostrophe. It is the same as when it is singular, because il without S and without S is singular, we said, you'll see, but it is still called, they still s'appelle. It's the same se, it's the same pronoun. But you see here the difference with the verb, it ends ent. The verb is actually, the ending is ent. So you will see there are different endings. That's why we say conjugation refers to the changing of verbs. The verbs have changed. You see, when it is je m'appelle, it ends with an e. When it is tu t'appelles, it ends with a es. When it is it s'appelle, it ends with an e, as if it was like just in je m'appelle. And if it was nous, you see, nous appelons, it is ons. It is ez, and then il or elle s'appelle ent. Ent is to show that it is plural. So you be careful, look at that verb again, try to master what it means from the conjugation. I said conjugation refers to the changing of verbs for persons, also for numbers, for tenses and mood. Just like I said, it's also called a verbal paradigm. Verbal paradigm means there's the verb, what it is inside the verb, all that happens within the verb. When the verb is the person, the verb takes another form, takes different from these forms. You will learn them as you go by, because you'll have to look at the verbs that we have used when Mark introduces himself. And I said we'll look at this verb so you will know actually what you're using. So the next thing we are going to do is to look at the verb. The one that is used is the verb to have, which is the verb to have, because this verb is used when you want to tell your age. In French, when you're telling your age, you use the verb to have. You know, in English, you know, you normally say I am 20 years old, or I am 30, or I'm 40 years old. In French, if you translate it directly, you say I have 20 years old. That's why it's different. You don't say I am, because in French, the verb I am is the verb to be. The verb to be in French is the verb to see it, because it's also an irregular verb, and it is one of the verbs that is mostly used. So we have to actually look at it, because it is mostly used, and so that you cannot confuse I am and I have. And you have to realize that that the verb to have is the one used to say I am so and so years old. So here we are. So as I said, we are going to So as we continue with the conjugation part, like I said, we are going to see the verbs that have been used with Mark while Mike is introducing himself, and we will also see the ones probably that have been used when he introduces his friend, who is called Gilbert. Gilbert is also see the ones probably that have been used when he introduces his friend, who is called Gilbert. Gilbert is Gilbert in French. So you say Gilbert. You have to now get used to pronouncing French. That is in French. So we are going to continue. The first verb, the second verb after the verb s'appeler, that is the verb, I think the second verb that Mark used was the verb, he said, j'ai 10 ans. So I am 10 years old. That's what Mark said. But like you see, you say j'ai 10 ans. It's the equivalent of saying I have 10 years if you translate direct English. That's why I said you have to realize that English is totally different the way things turns out in French. So you have to, your mind now has to be, you have to start having a French sort of mind, so that you will not be getting confused, because you start asking yourself, why do you say I have, you say we actually say we actually say we are, or things like that. So you have to get used to the fact that French is different. So the next verb, so I said, is the verb to have. And then in this series, I'll also look at the verb to be, because this verb is everywhere is the verb I am, even though it is not used well, in our past lessons with Mark, with the first present introduction, when Mark is introducing himself. This verb is completely omnipresent. So its ubiquity is completely relevant in as far as French is concerned. So we'll have to look at it, because it is always the verb to be. It is always looked together with the verb to have. You know, they always go in pairs. They always. That's why you see I put an image of them there. So the image there, you think. I think if I don't know if you can read it, but actually it means les verbes être et avoir au présent, meaning the verb to be and to have in the present tense. So then there's être, there's avoir. So first and foremost, I look at the verb avoir because it's the one that comes next after the verb s'appeler with Mark. So here I will try to go a little faster, so that we can cover as much as possible all the elements that have been used when Mark is introducing himself. And then the next thing is who's his friend Gilbert, who in French is Gilbert, because now you have to really get down to pronunciation of French, because actually it is pretty interesting and pretty musical. So the verb to have, it is the verb avoir. When avoir, it is. I said that before a verb is conjugated, it is called infinitive. The infinitive, you know what infinitive means. Infinitive, infinite. It means it does not got a finished kind of form. It's not finished. It's infinitive. So that's when a verb has not been conjugated. Here the verb avoir has not been conjugated. But when you take if you take je, like I said, when you take je, it becomes j'ai, I have. You have to say j'ai, there's J apostrophe AI. It means you have removed the E, because normally je has an E. But when you remove the E, it means actually the vowel, there are two vowels. They cannot have two vowels, because the form of the verb avoir, you see, it changes its forms. Now that's exactly what conjugation means. You join together, and then the changing of the form of AI. It is je, and you remove the E of je, because the verb starts with a vowel. So you can't put two vowels together. So that's why you say je. So je is J apostrophe AI, means I have. So that's when Mike was saying j'ai 10 ans, I have. That's the first person, singular, first person. So you see, when you say this first person, second person is tu as. You see, the verb avoir has changed. It is tu, et puis es. Es is the same verb avoir. Now that's the form it takes when it is with tu. That's tu is the second person singular. These are persons also, like you say. They're also personal pronouns, but they're person. First person is j'ai, I have. Second person singular is tu as, tu, that is you, and then as is the verb to have. Then you have il or elle, a. You see here the verb avoir becomes a, simply just a. So it is elle a. So when you see Gilbert, when Mark was introducing Gilbert, he said il a 9 ans, he has 9 years. So which literally means he is 9 years old. And then, or it has got, if it was a girl, it would have been elle a 9 ans. She has 9 years old. Then you come to nous avons. You have to say nous and then avant. You see, avant is still the verb to have now, but because you are in there, because il and elle, those are third person singular, but nous is first person plural. So Mark, there's first person singular, which is je, and then when it is we, it is first person plural. So it is nous avons, and you have to join. Nous avons. Nous avons, because nous avons is yeah, you have to join nous and the avons. The S of nous you have to join it with the A. That's why you say nous avons, because it sounds like as a nous avons. It's just like and that is first person plural. Then you have second person plural. Vous avez, you have. You see here the verb avoir has changed into avez. Vous avez. You also join S so that it gives that sound of vous avez. In French, when a consonant like S follows, even if the verb, there are different elements, it follows a vowel, you join them. That's why you French also, it looks like they're talking very fast. It's because they join words. That's why you say vous avez. And that is a second person plural. And then we come to the third persons. Third person plural. Third person plural is il, I-L-S, because when it is il, I-L, simply, it is third person singular. Now here is third person plural. So you have il, L, L, because E, double L, E-S, is they, feminine, but the verb to have becomes O-N-T, on. But since, like I said, the S, you have to join it with the O-N-T, it becomes elles ont, because since it gives a sound like a Z, so you'll say ils ont, ama elles ont, ils ont, ama elles ont. You realize that consonant at the last when you see a consonant at the end of a word, it's never pronounced. So unless there's a T, if there's a T, you pronounce the consonant, but you don't try unless there's an E. But if there's no E, you see, like here, you just say elles ont. You don't say elles ont. You say elles ont or ils ont. So we have finished with the verb to have. If you have any questions with that verb, you can just get back to me, or in the comment sections. You can ask questions. You can even ask that you may wish to know. You can ask me, and then I can maybe prepare something for you. So now let's finish here for the moment with the verb to be. So you have seen the verb to be is être. Yeah, it is written être. It's always with there's some sort of an accent. Yeah. So accent, I told you, there is the first of our page. Yeah. So être is the verb to be. So you will see here also, when you take that verb être, you see now you see je. Now we come back to je, you'll see je, because the verb être, when it is with je, because the verb être, when it is with je, it is become je suis. And you see now je, you don't see an apostrophe. You don't see an apostrophe. It is je, and then sui, because s is a consonant. S is not a vowel. So it is je suis. Je suis. Tu es. Tu es. And then you have il est. You say il est or elle est. Il est or elle est. And then we have nous sommes. Nous sommes. Then you have vous êtes. And then you have ils sont. Ils sont. So they are. You see, there's a difference. When you say ils ont, is they have, but if you say ils sont, is they are. So make that difference of pronunciation also. Be careful, because when you say ils ont, the sound is like a Z, it means they have, but when you say ils, it is they are. They are. So ils sont. So repeat after me once again for these verbs, because it's important to pronounce them. So I'm going to start again with the verb I have. It is j'ai. Tu as. Il a. Nous avons. Vous avez. Ils ont. The verb to be. Repeat after me. Je suis. Tu es. Il est or elle est. Nous sommes. Vous êtes. Ils sont. So practice those verbs. Also you can look for these things, all of them. You'll find in YouTube. You have all of these things in YouTube. Practice what I send you. Go to YouTube. You can just type the verb to be in French. YouTube will give it to you. You practice how to pronounce them. try to master the idea of to conjugate, to tell you that the verb, it changes its form. You have seen the changes of the form. You have taken the verb to have, you've seen it has changed its form. You've taken the verb to be, you see the verb when it is in infinitive, it is written, it is the verb être, but afterwards it changes, it becomes je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes. The verb also avoir, it changes to j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. Practice and continue following me. Subscribe, follow this channel. You will learn many languages here, and languages are life changers. They will change your life. You probably, some people don't believe it, but I'm telling you, it's a total life changer. You even realize how it has changed your life until maybe the day maybe you find yourself even translating to a president maybe in Colombia or something of that sort. So this is a life changer, and follow my channel and learn these languages. Enjoy learning them, and we'd be very you'll be served with nice languages and nice lessons. Thank you.